Hi, I'm Brad with Katzke Paper. Just wanted to show you guys how to set up your new machine. You should be getting it in a few weeks. The way it'll come in is with this carriage. The owner's manual is going to be inside the carriage. There's a latch here on the top that if you just push in on the latch, pull the door open, and then you're going to want to remove this owner's manual from inside here. You get that out, I usually like to keep it inside the control cabinet, and I'll have my partner walk around this side so you can see. So inside the control cabinet you're going to find an area where you can keep the owner's manual, but inside there is going to be a bag like this with the handle and 2 bolts for the door. This handle, so I'm going to go ahead and attach that to the carriage door over here. It's basically just an Allen wrench, 2 screws, and it just screws from the outside here. So that's about all there is to setting the machine up. Just mounting that handle. They don't want to ship it with that or it'll get broken off. And then, like I say, putting the owner's manual inside there so it's always with the machine is a good idea. The roll of film is going to mount on this carriage. And you want to open this door and we'll set the roll of film on there. There is one other thing that they send attached in here, which is a bar that mounts on the front. I'll show you, but it's just zip tied to the inside here. You just break these 2 zip ties. And then this mounts on the front. Loosen the knob right here, and then you can slide this whole thing down inside there. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to go. I'll load some film on here so you can see how that works. This is how we load the machine. The little latch on the top, if you push in on the top and pull out on the door, just lean it open like this. The film, when you set the roll of film on there, this is just a sample roll. A full machine roll is going to be quite a bit larger, heavier roll, but it's 20-inch film. There's arrows inside the core of the film. Arrows you always want to have the arrows pointed up so that it puts the clingy side of the film towards itself when it's wrapping. So arrows up, and it just sits down over this core right here. When you pull the film straight through, you don't have to weave through any rollers, just pull it straight through the door and then close the door and the machine's loaded. So when you pull on this film, this dancer bar it's called, spring loaded, that's kind of like the gas pedal. It's going to feed the film out. The harder you pull it, the faster it's going to feed out. This little bar right here, when the carriage, right now it's not at the bottom position. When I lower this down, the switch is going to hit this ramp down here and stop it. But it's going to put the film coming up over this bar, and what that does is it ropes the bottom edge of the film where it goes onto the pallet, so it strengthens it, makes it stronger where it's attached to the pallet. So I'm going to go ahead and lower this down to home position. It's been, like I said, you can raise or lower this wherever you want it to have as much film bunched up there. I'm going to go ahead and lower this bar down a little lower so it catches the bottom of the pallet. Okay, so load of products sitting on the turntable. We're going to go ahead and pull this film out and attach it to the load. A lot of people tie it to the pallet, but it's really probably not necessary. You can pretty much just walk around and stick it in between the product, get it stuck in there so it'll attach itself. So once you got it stuck in there, Robert, you want to come around this way and I'll try to show everybody the different controls we got on here. So you've got a main power switch with the green light that lights up on the top here. When the power's on, you'll notice that it's flashing. It's going it's going 1, 2, 3 flashes with a pause. If you look at the little alarm code over here, it tells you what 3 with a pause is that the carriage gate is or was opened. So in other words, if I had left that gate open, it would be telling me what's wrong or why it won't operate. The fact that it's been opened and closed, it still flashes that three flashes. That you know, obviously we know that the door's closed. So when you get to setting your top and bottom wraps, what it's going to do is spiral its way around the bottom up to the top, and it's going to count down however many top wraps you have entered in here. You've got a button that you can change this up to 9 top wraps and 9 bottom wraps. Most people do 3 and 3 top, 3 bottom. So we'll just start with 3 there, 3 here. So once that's set, most people don't mess with it too much. It's just whatever works best for your loads.
Hey, Johnson on radio.
So you got a film tension button, which can be changed on the fly while it's wrapping. Sometimes if your pallet sticks out beyond the load and you got sharp corners, you might have to start it with the film tension low. As it starts wrapping and gets above the pallet, you can turn it up and really cinch up the load tight. So that can be changed on the fly. You have a rotation speed, which is the turntable, how fast that's going to rotate. Usually about half to 3/4 of the way up is what most people run, but it's up to you, personal preference. Carriage speed up and carriage speed down. There's 2 separate controls for the carriage, how fast it's going to come up and go down. The nice thing there is if you have an unstable load, you might want it to come up quickly and get to the top and then slow it down on the way down to get enough film on there, or you know, vice versa, however you want to arrange it, but you have the option with 2 separate controls to change that. Like I say, about midway on those is usually a good starting point. Spiral up and down, there's an option to just do spiral up. So if all you were doing was trying to put some film on this just to move it from here over to the other side of the warehouse, you might want to just do spiral up and save film, just get enough on there just to move it across. But most people, when they're shipping something, they're going to want it on spiral up and down, because it spirals its up way up to the top, does the top wraps, and then spirals back down. That cross spiral pattern makes for a nice, tight, secure load. So we'll leave that there. Manual up and down on the carriage. That's what raises and lowers this carriage up and back down until it hits the limit switch. If I raise this all the way up, the little red limit switch over here is going to hit this top stop up here. And that's what's going to keep the carriage from trying to run its way off the top of the tower. So, but it does have on here also a photoelectric sensor or photo eye. That's this red lens right here, which in this environment you may need to wipe that off every once in a while because it's going to get dirty and dusty. But what that eye is seeing is the top of the load, and that's going to stop this carriage right when it hits the top of the pallet. So no matter how tall the pallet is, this will automatically stop it at that height. So I'm going to lower it back down. Okay, we're all the way down. So now this also has a top cover on-off switch, which I think that's one of the main reasons you guys are wrapping these, is to be able to put a top cover over the pallet. So with that on, what it's going to do is when it gets to the top, the machine's going to stop and pause there until you get your top sheet over it. And then when you hit start again, it's going to finish wrapping that top sheet into the load and go back down to the bottom and do the bottom wraps. So we'll try it with this on and see how that works.
We don't have any top sheets.
You don't have top sheets? We can look at that for you if it's something you need to. Reinforced wrap. This switch, you can either go this direction, or manual rotation turns the turntable by manually with this button. But the reinforced wrap, what that does is, let's say you were doing 2 pallets stacked together and you wanted to add extra film around the middle where those 2 pallets come together. What that reinforced wrap would do is, as the carriage comes up and gets to the middle of the load, right where it hits that middle, if you hit that reinforce wrap 1, 2, 3, or whatever, however many times you hit that button, it's going to sit here and do 3 or 4 wraps or whatever around the middle. Then it's going to continue up to the top and do the top wraps and back to the bottom. So I don't know if that's something you'll ever use or not. Most of your pallets look like they're all just single pallets, and probably no reason to have the reinforcement in the middle, but it's there if you need it. Auto height sensor on off. So that's turning that red photo eye on or off. If for some reason that photo eye was to go bad on you or something, you could turn it off and you could lower this guy down to the height of the load and use the limit switches on the carriage to stop it at a certain height every time. This is just kind of manually overriding the electronic eye. So I'm going to back up to the top. Lock that down. So basically those are all the controls. You got an emergency stop. When you push that, it pushes in. You got to twist it to have it pop back out. And then just the start button. So a lot of information, but basically what you're going to do once you get it set to where you want it, run it, it's coming over here, attaching the film, hitting start, it's going to wrap the thing, and then you're going to come over and tear the film loose at the end. So we'll go ahead and wrap one. You guys can see how this works. Starting to load here. Starts out a little slow and then builds up to its normal speed. You can kind of see the bottom of that film is getting roped a little bit when it goes around the pallet. It's coming up pretty quick there.
Down just a little bit.
Now this one just